go against the sacred thing that God puts into the very heart and the soil of this nation. This was sacred to God. Now is the time to act. This is exactly why I need some action from my people.
Back again at the Reawaken America tour, and we are here with a very, very special lady. Most of you probably familiar with her brother. You've probably seen him a time or two. Gabe, who am I referring to there?
That would be the general. We call him lovingly. We just call him the general.
Yes.
So
yeah, it's like
General Flynn.
It's like White Christmas, right? The general. Everybody loves the general. Yes, General Flynn. So yes, and but General Flynn is saving the country in a different way. I don't want to say that you're not saving the country, because you are. And you are going after something that, unfortunately, a lot of times is invisible. And it's so sad to say it like that. But oftentimes, we go past these kids, walk down the street, we see them in school, and we don't even know how much they're suffering.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and the way that we've been taught is that gun running doesn't make hardly any money anymore. Drugs doesn't pay as well as it used to, because now fentanyl is made and mass produced in China, so even the Mexicans can't keep up with the production that the Chinese have for making fentanyl. So the last great money-making way for the evil satanic realm is children, kids, sex trafficking.
And it sounds disgusting to say it this way, but you get more bang for your buck.
It's sad.
Right? The drugs is a one-time,
right,
where you can use a child over and over and over again, and it's absolutely disgusting to see that. So we're taking too much time. I want to make sure you get the mic. Go ahead and take it from here.
Oh, no, it's a great way to start this, because this is the guts of it, right? Commodity. A child is a commodity today. It is sad to see that we have no respect for children and treat children the way we do. America's Future, I came from working in nonprofit world probably close to 40 years. I've worked for many. I'm a compliance finance person, and then God gave me a path in my own life with my own children and my grandchildren, 4 grandchildren. And I saw many things going on. I lost my grandchildren in the middle of the night. They were taken by CPS, by my daughter, and from a very domestic, a violent man she was married to, and so that was back in the day. And I've been through a lot of things, but the Lord has kept me walking a path to really bring me here today, so I can talk about what my experience is, and I know what I went through. But we have to give what we've been given by the Lord, and we have to help others, right? More importantly, we have to help children. Children's number one. Yeah. I don't care what we have, inflation, we have all these problems going on. If we don't do something about these children being hurt and murdered, mutilated, exploited, abused, raped, like trash, thrown out like trash, we will not have a future. We don't have any future.
There was a hashtag that almost went really viral, was Save Our Kids, and there was a ramp coming in Hollywood, and it was almost there, and then it got suppressed. And it proves to me that our people, like, this is not a left or right issue, is what I'm getting to.
No, it isn't. Not at all.
That people are absolutely horrified. Yeah. We can't get people to agree that inside the womb, that's a child. Okay, but we definitely, outside the womb, these are kids that are being used as sexual gratification objects, and it's horrifying. Keep going. I'm sorry I interrupted.
Let me give you a statistic. So the Guttmacher, I think it's the Guttmacher Institution, I just read this, came out with it, and they are for abortion. They promote abortion. They came out with a report that 56 million babies were aborted globally last year, where we have 55 million people died globally of other causes.
Wow.
Okay, so that statistic we have now gone 1 million over killing babies abortion-wise. So when you hear it's pro-choice and pro-abortion, there's no, I have no patience for that anymore, because we're killing. If you think of 56 million babies aborted globally. That's an impact that's,
Huge.
first of all, it pierces the heart of Christ, pierces his heart. That's exactly what the devil wants to do. He wants to hurt Jesus, and that's what I know that, and that is what he does. And so we're in a spiritual warfare when we see that kind of, that kind of murdering going on in abortion. There's no excuse for a woman to say, we're not teaching children today to have responsibilities for their bodies and for their own actions today. And so this country is a great country, but we've allowed this infiltration of a lot of evil, people to come into systems and really infiltrate these systems. And the church is one. I saw this in the Catholic Church. I say this, and it came to me. I mean, really, the Holy Spirit brought this to me. The Catholic Church, when that scandal broke with the pedophiles, that scandal was the beginning of the awareness of what the destruction was going to be. And then they moved them around, and it began, and it escalated, and more children. So what we saw was there's no rehabbing a pedophile. There's no rehabbing.
There's only one solution.
There's no rehabbing. There's no rehab because the Catholic Church knew this. They had blood on their hands, by the way, by the abortion situation, blood on their hands. But they also have this real problem with understanding that pedophilia is a soul sickness, and it didn't stop. More victims came about
Jesus,
this.
a lot of times, he used metaphors and he used analogies. He said it'd be, like you trying to pluck a beam from your own eye. Or, getting a camel through the eye of a needle.
Yes.
We have these. One, I believe, personally, he wasn't making a metaphorical statement. He said, if you cause one of these little ones to stumble or sin or a hair on their head to be harmed, it would be better for you to tie a millstone, which is a huge, heavy stone back in those days, thousands and thousands of pounds, and cast yourself in the sea. He was not joking.
Well, no. And by the way, I interpret that, I was going to bring that up, I interpret that as the death penalty.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's right.
You're not coming back from that one.
No, you're not
that stone's going down quick.
You're not coming back from that one. So that's okay.
You can almost see the mindset of the globalists on this, right? So first, there came the destruction of the nuclear family, and I love what you said about women need to take responsibility for their actions, but men also, right? Men, we've got to. If you impregnate a woman, then you now have the responsibility of that child. It's just not her. We can't allow that. But the government, and you could say the Marxists, really destroyed the nuclear family, and then all of a sudden they have all these children that they have to take care of.
That's right.
And so what's the solution for that?
Right.
Well, let's abort them so the government doesn't have to continue to pay for those children.
Right.
You can almost see where their mind's going if you're a sick individual.
Right.
But I want people to take responsibility for their actions, and I want them to also have that vision that you have of looking for these kids, because they're among you. I'll tell you right now, they are among you, and there are signs that you can see, and I really want you to get into that, those signs that you're looking for when dealing with these kids who are being exploited.
Yeah, so there's signs, there's unbelievable signs. There's a lot of people working on, for example, I'll give you one that people are finding. We just found it in Jacksonville, Florida, where a father, and fathers are very important, by the way. Let's talk about fathers for a minute. The Planned Parenthood, the feminist movement set out because that Margaret Sanger was a racist.
Indeed.
She wanted to eliminate black children, black baby, the black
Jewish.
culture.
And you know what? They've been successful. Her vision is working.
And they hate men.
They do.
They hate men. And they had to get the father out of the family unit, because that's really the protector of the family. So they had to take that man job out of the family, and that's what they did. They did it because there's oppressed communities. A welfare system, that's a career. People are on. It's a career to be a welfare system, and boy, can they control. And they have done a really good job at keeping them ignorant, keeping women oppressed, keeping men out of their children's lives. When you have a child, that you've conceived a child, it's responsibility for man and woman. So there's a lot of rights that men don't have. and so they've been taken away. And I see that. I've been through that too. I have my own brothers and sisters and their families. I have a lot of family, and a lot of them have had problems as fathers, getting their children and things like that. So when we talk about children, it's everything goes back to the things that they've done. It comes back to destroying children, and when you talk about the family unit, we have all these different kinds of family units. Now they're pushing this couple that was a same-sex marriage, adopted 2 children through a Christian adoption agency.
I just saw this story.
By the way, a Christian, and beware of Christian organizations, of NGOs saying they're Christians. Beware. It's very serious. It's actually more serious than the government doing what they're doing. Okay, because what the government is doing, by the way, it's our money. Okay, and they're just using money to destroy families. But when Christian organizations come in and put children, who, by the way, there's about 600,000 children out of the foster care system that nobody knows where they're at. We don't know where they are. So that means there's 600 family members, mothers or fathers, that are destroyed.
Right.
And they're hurting. And they don't know what to do. So, I think about that kind of thing, and that's what the government's done. But on the other hand, you've got the Christians that are saying they're doing something that is really worse, because they have these values. And Christian, we're supposed to, follow 10 Commandments, and we're supposed to be, Christians, and they're doing things for money and to hurt children. Those kids were brutalized.
Yeah.
Those 2 little boys were brutalized and trafficked. So that's what we're up against today.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question about this, because clearly we can see that the left takes incremental movements to make their sin, their sickness, more palatable to the general public, right? And you can see this. You brought up homosexuality within the Catholics, right?
Yes.
And it's not just specific to the Catholics.
No,
but,
right.
But yeah, you can see them taking these steps. And now you're seeing them talking about MAPS, minor attracted people, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to be called pedophiles. They want to be called
Yeah.
MAPS.
The normalization
Right?
of
It's
abuse
that
of children.
normalization, yes.
Yeah.
And so I'd just like you to address a little bit
Yeah.
about these people and their claim to just, they're attracted to them, but they're not pedophiles because they're not acting on it.
Oh, yeah, whatever. They are, too. I don't care what you say about that. That's just another way to twist words, to confuse people, to, normalize it. I mean, when you look at a child, you're not supposed to look at a child as a sex toy,
No.
as a sex object.
No.
Anybody that does that really has a problem. I mean, I'm here to say the word pedophile, to explain the word pedophile,
Yes.
and to make sure that people understand.
We got to keep that language
We
clear.
do. We
Words
really
have
do.
meaning. We have to
Absolutely.
keep that where we can't
That's right.
shy away from it.
That's
'Cause
right.
I built a presentation where we showed images of Drag Queen Story Hour.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought
Big.
about saying this is nothing other than pedo grooming. And then I thought, nope, I'm going to
That's right.
spell the whole thing out.
That's right.
We have to enunciate pedophile.
Pedophiles.
It is not. We can't use the term MAPS.
Yep.
We can't
Yep.
use the term bisexual.
No. No.
You are egregiously sinning in homosexuality or lesbianism. So the more we normalize these things, the more we lessen.
That's right.
Because here's an old saying. What do I call you, Mrs. Flynn?
Mary.
Okay.
Call me Mary.
My mom's making me be respectful
I
in my
know
head
you
right
are.
now.
That's okay.
But
Call me
Mary, like, there's an old saying, and this is very harsh, but in prison,
No, go ahead.
in prison, if a man comes to prison and he's a murderer,
That's right.
or let's say he's tax evaded, or he's like a grifter or something, he's gonna get kind of beat up as he comes
Oh,
in.
yeah.
They go through kind of some punishments, but
Yes,
but
they
I
do.
heard from my father, he works in he helps men get through things in Folsom Prison. He said, you do not want to be a child abuser.
Oh no. Oh, you don't.
You do not want to be, because they will absolutely,
Yeah. There's
short
a
of
pecking
killing
order.
you.
There's a
Yes.
pecking order. They have a pecking order. Men do. I mean,
It's because that protective nature, and I feel
Yes.
like it's very scary. I don't want
right.
to hear from my dad that that's even being lessened in prison, because that'll be a canary in the coal mine.
Yeah.
Statistically, like the whole reason why Rome fell is because
Right.
they lost their moral bearing.
Big
it had
time.
become normalized for men to engage what's called pedastry.
Thank you.
Which an elite would, what would he would do is bring into his bed a small young boy.
That's right.
And I'm telling you, within 50, not even 50 years, Rome was wiped out.
Wiped out. We became a Babylonian, idealistic, godless country, a nation, whatever. And that's what's going on right now. We got a real godless element in our society right now, and it is Michael, my brother talks about war, and he's a general, and he's fighting many wars, many fronts right now. There's many fronts, and in particular, children are very important to him because he and I. This is one thing that we're very close in age, and this is something that's very important to both of us. I know he loves children, and so, but what I'm saying is that this is a spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
We are fighting a war, and there's war on children, and the last piece they need is to do this. Is to kill children, is to sacrifice children. I mean, every part of it is evil, right? Everything they can possibly do to a child is evil. Pornography, slavery, sex, hurting children, all of it. It's all evil, right?
Right.
It's all evil, and it all leads to the piercing of Jesus Christ. They want to pierce Jesus's heart,
Yeah.
the heart of Jesus, and that's the ultimate goal for Satan. That's the ultimate goal is children. That's most important to me because I know that's the number one thing that God is showing me.
Well, the Bible says these little ones, this is one of the biggest
right.
compliments in Bible. These little ones, angels, see the face of my Father.
right.
So that tells us, Caleb and I,
That's
our
right.
angels may not see the face of the Father, meaning the prayers of the saints, meaning these little tiny sheep,
right.
their makes me want to cry. Their
know.
prayers get to the Father
right.
and see Him. So I want to talk about solutions because I don't feel like we're going to.
Let me just say one thing on
that's
this
right.
as well before we get to solutions because I just wanted to jump in.
And boots on the ground. I want
Yeah,
to, don't let
that's
me
right.
forget that.
I love what you said about how this isn't a left-right issue.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Now, they are clearly engaging in sin, as you just said, with their abortion, that it's a right to murder your child. But I just wanted, because we do have some leftists that watch this show.
Oh, yeah.
And I just wanted to address the leftists that might watch this show. Look, you are completely wrong about abortion, all right? But that's not what I want to talk to you about. I want to say, with this minor attracted persons, with this normalization of pedophilia, don't cross that bridge. That is a bridge too far. Look, you should want to protect children. I would hope that you'd want to protect all children, unborn and born. But let's just address those children that have already been born. You know in your heart that you want to protect these kids. Don't allow for the normalization of pedophilia.
That's right. Absolutely. I mean, this is a universal, way to come together right here. And by the way, both sides of the aisle, Democrat, Republican, have their hands in this. This is not a political issue with me, and I'm not a political person, but I'm telling you that this is on both sides of the aisle. And by the way, we openly see the Democrats. We see them.
Right.
They're open about what they do. They're the ones
Right.
that's, Hollywood, you see, all the, I mean, my buddy did the Out of Shadow, Mike Smith, he's my buddy. He exposed the Hollywood pedophile situation.
Wow.
That movie was incredible. That got 100 million views in 1 week. And, but the Republican side, who are supposed to be Christian conservative, Christian, that's even worse. It's like the
I have
priests.
more respect for the Democrats than them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
Makes your
it's like
skin
the
crawl.
priests, that, who the pedophiles do, and homosexual. They're not. They take oaths. They take. Priests take. What do they call them? I forget.
A blood oath?
Well, no, they take. Whatever they take. They have certain things that they have to abide by, and so Christians, Republicans. Are you kidding me? They're worse. It's like why are you hiding behind something, this Christian value, this conservative value, and you don't see children? You're not going to stand up for this they're in it. They've got to be
I have
compromised.
a kind of a little theory on this, Mary. I think,
maybe they're compromised. They got to be.
do you remember Rock Hudson and
Yes.
him being gay in
Yes.
Hollywood?
And it came out.
And
yes.
it came out.
It was a shock.
It was like they had to
yeah.
keep
Shocking.
that under wraps back then.
Yes.
But nowadays, to
Yes.
keep somebody in dirt, like if you found out, hey, there's pictures of you with a guy,
That's right.
you might actually get elected again, maybe
Right.
even quicker. Okay, you embezzle, you probably get reelected.
Make
But
up stories about
but
yourself.
for a
Yeah.
Republican to be like micromanaged, and for you as somebody to really leverage a Republican, you have to get them with the dirt, and the dirt on
That's
them is with a kid
That's
or
right.
something seriously
That's right.
egregious. So it's like that's how they get you.
Yeah.
Is they keep elevating and keep
Well,
elevating.
that's exactly
Yes,
what
and-
Epstein.
and-
That's exactly what
Well,
Epstein was
exactly.
doing.
And here's another thing. General Flynn says this. He talks about this in, and they just broke a story with the prostitution in the World Forum in the hotels. They just
Yep.
broke. I mean, so people are starting to leak things. So which is good because
Yeah.
that one thing when I'm telling you when I'm connecting with this prostitution, and we don't know how old those we don't know how old those
No,
they are kids.
I'm
Super
sure.
Bowl we
Yeah.
saw that 4 kids were rescued out of the Super Bowl that was in Tampa or whatever it was in Florida 2 years ago or so, whatever. But the one thing that I want to say is the pedophile is I lost track of what I was saying. With what you said something about
how they
General
have
Flynn.
they leverage
This is what
you.
General Flynn said. He said that the American leaders and all that, anybody who they are, and they go over to these conferences or they go overseas, they've compromised them. They get them
Wow.
into situations where they're going to parties, there was women around, and whether they know what's going on or what isn't, they get pictures, they get these kinds of things, and that is exactly what's going on with the world. When there's prostitutes staying at all these hotels where all this is
Right.
going on, there's something going on, and he has spoken about that.
Yeah.
That's how they are compromised, and I believe that many of these Republicans that are establishment of Republicans, we've got a good bunch of people in there right now that are newly elected that are going to fight, but these establishment, there's something wrong with them
Yeah.
because they're quiet
No,
right
they're
now.
silent.
They're silent.
There's obviously
there's
dirt on
nobody
them.
talking about this.
Yeah.
There's these kids that ran away from the home in Clearwater, this mansion that these kids were foster care. Where is DeSantis talking about this?
Right.
And then they put the kids back into the foster care system, which is the same system that they're being tortured with. So where are they at when these come out? These 2 children that were with the homosexual fathers that were being trafficked. Where are the Georgia politicians?
Right.
Nobody's talking about this.
Yeah.
Nobody is saying, "Oh my God, how can I help? How can I help?"
And
How
that's
can
a
we
great
help?
transition.
So-
Yeah.
so
let's
tell
talk
us
about
about
solutions.
the boots
Yes.
on the ground
here's-
in your organization or anything.
Here's what we're doing, because there's a lot of organizations that I'm going to tell you that are saying they're helping and rescuing children, and they're not.
No, you're going to name names.
Well, I am.
Excellent.
I am. Well, one of the groups that, the Christian adoption agency that gave those 2 little boys to that couple is a Christian organization. I'm going to find out, right? But here's what we're going to do. We're going to expose the child exploitation. We're going to educate the community. We're going to build a grassroots, which we've already done. We have a grassroots champion. We have champions all over the country in every state now. We just revived America's Future. It just came back. I just took it over. It was in dormancy for 20 years. So
Okay.
in the last 2 years, we built this champion community. Because we got to go grassroots.
Right.
I'm not going to Washington. I'm going into the communities. I'm training. I'm going through a training process, a 6-day training process that will certify me. And I'm doing that because I want to start certifying people in their communities so they know a lot about what they can do. They will walk away with solutions. And there's another thing that we will do is, citizens arrest is very, very important.
Come on.
Yes.
Okay?
We need to.
Citizens
Yes.
arrest, and people don't know that. So
Right.
that's a part of that training is going to have that in there because communities and states, everybody's got charters, all these
Right.
kinds of things, and people need to go. Right now, they can go and look into their charters, go look into their town halls and their cities, and find out what they have on the books that either protect children or harm children.
Right.
Because up in Rhode Island, where I'm from, they had a old law that said, talked about prostitution. You couldn't do it on the streets, but you could do it in a building. And many times there were raided buildings with children in there being trafficked. So you can do it inside, but you can't do it outside. So that was an old law that was on a book. So you can look into your communities right now. So the education is going to be very, very huge. We're going to have media. I've got Laura Logan doing a piece called "Where Are Our Children?" to expose where are all these children, these 600,000 children missing, and what's going on. So that education is what America's future can do, because we're a media educating C3, and we can take on all that. And then we're going to eradicate, meaning I am going to work with a team of legals that are really, there's some really good lawyers that are done. They're really sick of the crimes against children, okay? And so that team is going to legislate. We're going hardcore on sending some good people on my team. This advisory team is called the Little Flower Advisory Team, and it's made up of heroes and people that have been in this, and they each stay in their own lane. They all have their own expertise. They, many of them, Liz Krogan, Laura Logan. I have Boz Basel and Tina, his wife. They've been recovery children. I have a couple of other people that we're working with, a team of lawyers, and we're going to do media, law, and operation, and vet. I'm vetting. I'm going to find out who's in this. Saying they're, I'm going to expose. General Flynn's going to expose. I just need his voice. You know what I mean? Because he knows a lot.
Yeah.
He does. He knows where the bodies are buried. He knows. Very, very, very important about how he feels about this is very important. So we can make an impact. We can make an impact. My deal is to get to the grassroots, because that's where it
huge.
begins. That's where we're going to help them. Because
let me say this.
Yeah.
If there is literally anything that we can do as church and state, we would love to assist you in that, because where we're from, we live in Spokane, Washington. There's this little triangle there. It's Spokane, Portland, Seattle, and they traffic kids. They traffic prostitution. It's happening constantly. They're just moving from city to city to city. So if there's anything that we can do to help you, to defend children, to just allow them to be kids. No kid should have to experience
the
this.
greatest gift God ever gave us is children. I mean, that's why it's so hard for Jesus. It really is. It's hard for the Lord to see what's going on. And we're in times, very biblical times right now.
We are.
We really have to show that we love Him. And by saving children, that's going to show.
My wife and I, we've got 3 small children. And I know if anyone hurt my kids, I would do anything and everything to that individual.
Oh my goodness!
Like that may be my flesh speaking there, but I would. I guarantee it.
Yeah. Well, we need people to be like that, because you can't turn your cheek to this anymore.
No.
It's
and Jesus wouldn't have you turn a cheek to this.
And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to be sitting in that judgment day.
Yeah, absolutely not.
I fear the Lord, but I know the Lord loves me. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's just like, and I know priests and clergies, and I've spoken to them about their behaviors and stuff. I've been very blunt with people, and I'm telling you, they have a bad judgment coming. I mean,
well, can I push your website?
Oh, please.
AmericasFuture.net.
Yeah.
Go to there. There's a place where it says "Become a Champion for America." Some of you pray about that, or maybe you go to their newsletter, sign up for that, become
amazing.
a member. So I know this is going to grow.
And the
you can
project
also
is there.
support it by donating.
Please.
So there's different ways to support.
Yeah.
Don't just talk. We talked. Caleb and I. Our presentation was don't just talk. Do something. So either financially support, become a member. Get the newsletter, or either become a champion, which is a higher level of membership. It's not, and I say membership, it means a calling for you to get involved. Maybe you're supposed to learn about the signs of it. Looking for white vans in your neighborhood.
That's right.
Looking for rental homes, where people just pay rent. They pay only 1 month's rent. Bring a bunch of young
Zip
kids
ties.
in,
Listen, zip
and
ties.
then leave.
Yeah, right now in Jacksonville, they discovered zip ties were being used. They're tagging, predators are tagging cars. They're watching vulnerable children, families, and they're tagging cars. And literally, a friend of mine said one day to his children, "Who's putting these tags on my car? Who keeps doing this?" He kept seeing zip ties all over his car, like in the handles and stuff. And he said to his kid, getting gas, who's putting these, zip ties? I'm sick of these zip ties, right? They were watching him. The kids were like, "We're not doing it, Dad. We're not doing it." So God bless him. He got in touch with some people in his community, and they told him that is a code for a vulnerable parent with a children. They're watching you.
Wow.
That is a system. And by the way, cartel are in everybody's community right now. I want you to know that too. Fentanyl is something they're using to drug children.
Yeah.
And fentanyl is when they capture a child, and you see this. You see kids off the streets, standing there with their parents, and all of a sudden somebody comes up and tries to grab. I've seen pictures of that. It's on social media, and they grab the child. The mother's looking, stretching. They're doing that to go sell that child to get some money for drugs or whatever they're going to do. Because a child today in America is about $1 million. It can be up to $1 million.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. I'm with Commander Flynn.
Commander, I like
Commander
that. That's
Flynn.
good. No, that's good, Gabe.
And we appreciate you listening to the Commander here at Church and State.
Well, I got to say this. I've been called a master sergeant because I got to stick with my mother was Navy. They were Navy, and my father was Army. So thank you very much.
And don't tell your
for that.
brother I was a Marine.
I was married to a Marine.
Okay, there we go.
My first husband was a Marine, died at 40 years old. He was in the Air Wing. He flew C-130s and got very, very sick from being in that and died very young. So I was married to a Marine, and all this Army, Navy in my family. So military is
we got
very
military
big.
jokes.
And I love the Marines because they were good to me. I'll tell you.
Excellent. All right.
God
Well, yes,
bless.
thank you so much for your time. We
Thank
really
you
appreciate it.
so much. God bless you guys.